welcome to Primetime Talk TV. Yes, oh yes, we are live once again, y'all. And I gotta tell you, got a real good show for y'all. Um, basically, it's a lot that's been going on in the sport of boxing, you know, and hey, look, it's coffee time with prime time. That's all I can say, y'all. It's coffee time with prime time. So let me crack this open right here and get me a little sip before I jump in. You already know when you enter my house, definitely hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. And so look, first of all, I want to talk about this Shakur Stevenson versus William Zepeda. Yeah, let's go ahead and cover that first. Because that fight right there is going to be Shakur Stevenson's biggest test to, to his career. So we will first get a chance to see how well Shakur Stevenson does against a William Zepeda versus Tevin Farmer, 1 and 2. Because we know in the right old age that Tevin Farmer is in, that he competed at the highest level with William Zepeda when no one else was able to do that. We had never seen William Zepeda hurt, knocked down, anything until Tevin Farmer. So now, we got Shakur Stevenson. Yeah. And, a lot of people have been talking about how Shakur Stevenson performed against Edwin De Los Santos last fight, which they don't give him no credit to say that, hey, his hand could have been hurt and he still performed at the highest level. And Edwin De Los Santos didn't really perform the way we thought he would. But nonetheless, Shakur Stevenson won that fight. And now we have Keyshawn Davis getting ready to fight Edwin De Los Santos. So it raises a lot of questions. Who is going to be better? Which mentee of Terrence Bud Crawford will perform at the biggest level? We got Shakur Stevenson going up against William Zepeda. And he has to perform good because we've seen William Zepeda last 2 fights with Tevin Farmer. Very back and forth fights. Or will we see Keyshawn Davis and his brothers outperform in Virginia? He's doing a homecoming fight against Edwin De Los Santos, someone that Shakur Stevenson fought. So who will perform better? That's what I want to know from you guys. What do you think? For the ones that's watching, Shakur Stevenson is going to perform better or Keyshawn Davis is going to perform better? That's the serious questions we have to ask. And rightly so, we have other fights on the horizon. We have Canelo versus Crawford himself. What's going on, Jacob? And, boxing right now is at a pivot point, and we've been getting a lot of fights that have not lived up to the hype. But what we do know is William Zepeda, he's going to come to fight. He's going to bring the fight to Shakur Stevenson. William Zepeda even said he has a plan A, B, and C for Shakur Stevenson. So we shall see, right? We shall see. And, it's so much news to cover. The Teofimo Lopez situation, T.O., he tripping. He talking about he want to fight Boots Ennis. And they are really actually negotiating this fight. They're negotiating, you know, Ensign, what's going on? Appreciate you. All right. And, you know, we looking at a lot of craziness that's already done transpired. We don't know if the Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia fight is going to actually happen when we thought it was going to happen. You know, it's still going to happen because Turkey Al-Sheikh has, you know, pretty much reached out to Ryan Garcia, checking on him. So I still think, you know, that fight is going to happen. You know, I don't know how the demand of it is, but a lot of people has criticized Devin Haney about his performance against Ramirez. And not too long ago, Bill Haney, appreciate it, K Moody, no doubt, appreciate it. Bill Haney, he has went on the Cigar Talk, another podcast, and he talked about his son performance. Cigar Talk, he played devil advocate very well, I think. He asked the tough questions. He asked the questions that we all wanted to know. You know, was Devin Haney scared to get hit? You know, and Devin Haney's father, Bill Haney, rebutted with a very, very good answer. I would say. He said that is Robert Garcia a former trainer of the year? Cigar Talk was like, yes, he is. Robert Garcia trained Ramirez. Yeah, 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 he did. Okay, so if Robert Garcia, trainer of the year, trained Ramirez to fight Devin Haney, then that means Devin Haney nullified everything that Ramirez did for 12 rounds. I was like, wow. Good answer. Good answer. Because we saw in the Edgar Berlanga fight, the Barboza fight, we saw in the Barboza versus Ramirez that both of them fought very competitively. It was a back and forth fight. You know, Barboza just edged it out. But then we saw how Barboza fought against Teofimo Lopez. And then we saw how Devin Haney and Ramirez fought. So it lets you know that Devin Haney and Teofimo Lopez footwork is on an elite level. That Barboza and Ramirez are like one and the same. They're flat-footed, you know, volume punchers. And when you have flat-footed volume punchers, ones that love to stand and throw a bunch of punches, then that's what you get from those fighters. But when you match them up against a fighter like Devin Haney and Teofimo Lopez, then it looks like they're not even in that class, you know, at least footwork wise. I take nothing from those fighters because they're excellent fighters, top class fighters even. But it's always an extra level to boxing. And that footwork has to be 50% of your body when you're fighting. Your footwork and your upper body. And you saw those fighters with the opposite level. And that's why we had that turnout that we did. Now, moving right along, let's get on back to, you know, the Shakur Stevenson press conference, pretty decent. They talked a little bit of, shot a little jazz back and forth. Shakur Stevenson said he's going to fight his behind off. I mean, he's going to train his behind off for this fight. And he's going to show him, you know, the best Shakur Stevenson. So I say this, you know, a lot of Shakur Stevenson reputation relies on this fight now, because we have Keyshawn Davis, someone that came up after him, is performing at light speed levels. Extinguishing fighters, having a desire to get fighters out of a fight once he gets them hurt. It makes him a problem for anyone who gets in the ring with Keyshawn Davis. We've yet to see anyone get in that ring with him and he pull back and start dancing around the ring and things of that nature. He is a true fighter. And that's one of the things that I love about Keyshawn Davis. You know, he has a desire. Once he sees a weakness, once he sees that he can get you out of there, he gets you out of there. And that's what most fans desire from boxing. When they look at a fight, they want to see whoever hurts that man, get that man out of there in impressive fashion, knockout fashion even. In a lot of fights, we don't get that. A lot of fights, we get 12-round decisions. But if you're a boxing purist, you love those things. You love those tangibles. You know, you don't hate against, you know, oh, man, you know what I'm saying? Dude ain't knocked dude out. Man, I ain't watching this match, don't want to turn it, man. No. You know, if you're a true boxing purist, then you're going to watch it to the 12th round, to the bell. You know, that's what I do. You know, I love to watch fights to the end, you know, to make sure I don't miss nothing. You know, it's like a lot of times you always miss that knockout, you know, when you do a back and forth. Oh, man, I'll check this. Oh, this is the basketball game on. And speaking of basketball, for all the Celtic fans out there, man, salute, man. Salute y'all. You know, ain't no hate over here. You know, I'm not even, you know, a true Celtic fan or anything like that, but you know, I know that the Celtics, you know, champion pedigree, you know, they lost their best star player, and no one wishes that on no one, not even your opposition and your team, you know, the team against you wish that for anybody, because that can fall on them. So, you know, with that being said, you know, congrats to the Knicks for moving on for the first time in a very, very, very long time. They have moved forward, and they're going to be going up against, you know, a good team as well. But moving back to boxing, let's get back to boxing. All right, sorry about that. I just, you know what I'm saying, I just had to get that out. It is prime time. Look, prime time talk. It ain't prime time boxing. So, you know, I do talk about a little bit of other stuff. You know, I just ain't gonna talk about none of that P. Diddy stuff, man. You know what I mean? A lot of cats, man. Look, man, there's so much going on with that, man. So much drama in the LBC. Got a heartbeat. But anyway, look, we got Crawford versus Canelo September. You know, crazy, right? That's gonna be mega, mega. I mean, top tier. One of the biggest fights of probably the decade. You know, we got a 50-50 fight right here. The unknown. Don't nobody truly know. You know, you could be a fan of Canelo, but we know how Crawford fight. And if he see you hurt, you know you're going in the dirt. But we know how Canelo is. Boy, he's a slick, good IQ fellow. And boy, he ain't never mellow. He is in that ring trying to knock out a fellow. Yeah, but yeah, so we got that Canelo versus Crawford coming up. And that's going to be a very, very good fight. I'm looking for that fight to be a very, very competitive fight, kind of like the Madrimov fight with Crawford. And that's what I look forward to. Reason being is because it is the land of unknown. It is Crawford's biggest fight of his career. It will be Crawford's biggest test of his career. And, you know, looking at how well, you know, Canelo fights at any level, we know it is going to be a war For real, people will get their money worth with this fight. I'm telling y'all, that's prime time talk right now. You could take it to the bank. You know, I really do truly believe we will get our money worth with the Canelo versus Crawford fight. That's why I'm gonna be there in person live. So, you know, y'all already know. You already know. And that's facts. So, but moving right along, let's break this fight down. Who do y'all think is going to be the winner of this fight? Do you think Canelo's gonna win? Do you think Crawford is gonna win? Huh? Put down in the comments. Let me know. Let me know. Because, hey, it's going to be a very, very high risk, high stake match. And you know it's going to be a chess match. Because both of those guys, they think in the ring on their feet while they throwing their hands. And ain't no other dangerous man than that. And, you know, hey, it's going to be a good fight. It's going to be a good fight. I feel it in every part of my bone. Like, you know, Crawford got something to prove. He got something to prove. And Canelo, he's always proving himself. He's 60-something fights in, man. Canelo is 60-something fights in. And what about this Pacquiao versus Barrios? You know, he trying to be a 43-year-old, come back and win a title, huh? Hey, I feel you. I feel you, Pacquiao. I feel you. You know, Pacquiao, he that man too. He don't play. He coming back, you know, to let everybody know he still got it. But the crazy thing is he got beat in an exhibition fight, and a lot of people saying, do he really got it? And is this a body or a name for Barrios to put on his list? Man, it's a cold world out here, y'all. It's a cold world out here. You know, people gotta pay bills for real. And just made Pacquiao, he might need some bill money because I'm telling you, boy, you know, to come back and fight Barrios, you know, Barrios done sacrificed a whole lot. He done sacrificed a whole lot, you know, fighting Tank, you know, so many other fights that Barrios was put in that, you know, it was kind of like he was a sacrificial lamb, you know, and it's good to see Barrios getting his just due. It's good to see him having a belt. It's good to see good fighters that dedicate their mind and their body to the sport get some payback. So salute to him, you know. But you know, hey, there's a lot of fighters that want that Pacquiao fight. And hey, just so happened he gets it. So yeah, moving right back along, let's get back and double back a little bit for the ones that just joined in. You know, this show really is about, you know, the Shakur Stevenson and William Zepeda fight and Keyshawn Davis versus Edwin De Los Santos. You know, and you know, William Zepeda, you know, had a very, very good 2 fights back to back with Tevin Farmer, and now he steps in the ring again this year, fighting against Shakur Stevenson. So salute to William Zepeda, man, for real. He is a war machine, you know. William Zepeda, hey, you got to give a man his props, you know. He's stepping in that ring as frequent as Canelo was in his right days. But we have Shakur Stevenson, a young man that has cat-like reflexes, some of the best defense in boxing, probably the top in boxing right now of defense. But the questions have always been, where is the knockouts? Where is the domination? Where is the punishment to make a man stop in the corner and wave no mas? Those are the things we are looking forward to seeing from Shakur Stevenson. I'm a fan of Shakur Stevenson, always have been. But I can be honest and say, yes, I desire to see more. Because now, creeping up on Shakur Stevenson heel is Keyshawn Davis, his own stablemate. And Keyshawn Davis has been shining bright like a star, for real. Putting fighters out in impressive fashion. And now we have Keyshawn Davis fighting Edwin De Los Santos. And it's going to be a big test for Keyshawn because he thinks that he can beat Edwin De Los Santos better than Shakur. Maybe he even knows. So if Shakur Stevenson is worried about Williams Zepeda, definitely be worried about the Edwin De Los Santos outcome afterwards. Because Keyshawn Davis is showing the tenacity that we look for in him. And when a fighter comes up after you and surpasses you in your own stable, that's a rough situation. That's my prime time talk, for real. You know, I know a lot of people don't want to talk about it because they brothers, but brothers fight too. I got 3 brothers in real life. It's just 4 of us, and we have fought. We have fought. Let me tell you, like, yeah. For real. Like we was trying to injure each other. 3 brothers, 4 boys going up in the house together. Hey, yeah, we fought. But I fought more people out in the streets than I did my brothers. Trust me. In my neighborhood, I fought every other Friday. But, you know, with Shakur Stevenson, we just desire to see him perform at the highest level. We desire to see him do what he's supposed to do in them fights. And those are the things we look forward to. And that is the questions that will be answered against Williams Zepeda. You know, so much will be answered in that fight, because then we'll know if Shakur Stevenson really is that guy. It's no more excuses. What's going on, CA Dollar Sign? But there's no more excuses. We saw how Williams Zepeda fought twice against Tevin Farmer, so we know what he brings. And Shakur Stevenson, of high IQ and good defense, we know what he brings. But who will impose their will on who? That's the question. That's always the biggest question in boxing. Who is going to impose their will on who first? That's how you win boxing. You get your rhythm, you impose your will, you make them tap out, wave no miles in the corner, or get knocked out. Or take a knee and stand in it. So it's so many ways that this fight can go. And we're looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing how well Shakur Stevenson finally performs against a top-level fighter like William Zepeda. Hey, it's a good fight, y'all. Either way you package it. Either way you talk about it. Hate it, like it, don't matter to me. it is what it is. It's going to be in history. So, I just hope that Shakur really lays it out there, though. That's what I hope. I hope that he really lays it out there this time and displays his best and don't leave no stone unturned. Because I know Williams Zepeda is coming to fight without a shadow of a doubt. But you got to have the right dance partner, right? And you can't be dancing too much. Can't be running around too much, You got to stop and land some combinations. Now, a lot of people were also talking about the Devin Haney and Caleb Plant also did a little interview, and he talked about it. And he said that, what I saw is a fighter that trained and moved around in that ring for 12 rounds. He said, when you're scared to get hit, that's nervous energy, and you get tired fast. I said, dang, he right. He right. When you nervous and you fighting, you get tired more faster than anything. And I was like, dang, Caleb, he right. But he's a professional boxer, so he's supposed to know this. He's a former world champion, so he's supposed to know this. So Devin won't nervous. He said Devin Haney trained to fight like that for 12 rounds. He said the problem was Ramirez didn't have no answer for it. Robert Garcia didn't have no answer for it. Now, was it the same Devin Haney that fought Lomachenko that stood there and banged? No. No, it won't. Because you got to give him his props. He stood there and he banged, blow for blow with Lomachenko. I made that rhyme. You hear that? Blow for blow with Lomachenko. And that's what Devin Haney did. So we know Devin Haney has the skills and the capability to stand there and trade with anybody. But he chose not to. He trained like that. Because everybody said that he couldn't defend the left hand. Well, he did against Ramirez. Everybody said that, he didn't have good reflexes. Well, in that fight, Ramirez, he didn't get touched that much. Didn't even get scathed at all. So, gotta call a spade, Devin Haney, he did good. He didn't do what we wanted him to do, but he did do good. He did put on a good arsenal display of footwork, speed, and reflexes. Now, did he throw combinations in 2s, 3s, and 4s, and 5s, and 6? No. And those are the things we look for in fighters. Throw some combination, young men, for all the young fighters. Pick your spots, pick the right spots. But it's times when you see the fighter waiting on you. And I always believe in hit first. Don't wait to get hit. That's crazy business. You know what I mean? You sit there waiting like, you wait. No, fake him with something and then hit him with something else. Bam! And then throw them combinations. Bing, bing, bang, bang. Make them close up. Close the show out on them. Overwhelm them. Get them disoriented. Use footwork and pivots out the way. I be seeing all them guys in the back room pivoting, but then in the fight, they don't be pivoting. So, it is what it is, I just want the best fights. I want to see the best fights like you guys. you know. And I want to see these fighters perform at the top level, you know. You know, it should be a guarantee in the contract. If you don't throw over a certain amount of punches, you're gonna get deducted some dollars. That's what it should be. For real. And that'll make them throw them blows. You know, or give them an incentive like every punches that you throw more in a fight, we'll give you an extra bling blang, you know. We'll give you an extra rack or two. You know, every hundred blows we give you a rack. You know, 2 racks, 10 racks. I don't know. You know, whatever was clever, but somebody needed to get it together because we tired of these fights where we paying for these pay-per-views and we seeing these guys run around here in their glass shoes. Like they refuse to lose. And they're dancing like a ballerina. He's a track star. Can't do that. But it's not really running. People say it's running. It's not running. It's footwork, y'all. You know, and I get it. You know what I'm saying? But think about it. If you run, can't be like they run. I ain't never seen a boxer do this. First of all, the ring ain't big enough for them to do that. So let's get that clear. Um, but I do understand what fighters and people or fans talk about, you know, standing there and trading, standing there and fighting. So anyway, with that being said, that's all I got for this video. You already know the routine. When you leave my house, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, smash the bell icon so you can be notified the next time I drop these next latest and greatest videos here on Primetime Talk TV. And I'm on social media everywhere. And definitely go to the website, primetimetalktv.com, and cop you some merch, man. And look, my sponsor, Masachi, check them out too. You know what I'm saying? Masachi.life. So anyway, you know, look, I'm going to have another show first of the week. So, you know, everybody tap in, subscribe to the channel, hit the like. I'm going to keep bringing it to you. And as always, salute, peace, love, happiness. Till next time. Peace.